obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from the Lotus Song. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my blind eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, worth after worth. From him ecstatic reminiscence. By him ignorance is destroyed. The living spiritual sin of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us, and give us the shade of your lotus feet. May your fame be spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter at your lotus feet.
You don't have a way to hook up to those speakers?
That's an upload.
Is it good?
It's good.
Quality's good?
Quality is good. But you can check it.
I will definitely check it. But I guess this is not available, huh, those speakers?
Yeah, I think they cable broke.
Oh goodness, so are they used for anything? Nobody uses them. Yes, thank you so much. I was trying to send it there. It's not good as dry. Let me try John, turn my phone. It's not as good as those. If you can't get those, we'll go with what we have.
Unless you can try if this works.
Oh, you want to try it?
And that would be the bigger one.
Just right there's fine. Thank you so much.
Yeah, see, nice.
You have hiss and,
Yeah. Oh, try.
yeah, but I'm not going to now. Let's just check this again, make sure it's still working. Okay, very good. Thank you for your patience with technology.
You think we should switch off the light?
Yes, definitely. And can we have curtains on the windows? Oh, that's much better. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodhana
Yasodanandana Brajajaranjana Yamuna Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Asatara Satashri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Shikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai, Mathura Dhama Ki Jai, Navadvip Mayapur Dhama Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dhama Ki Jai, Gangamaya Jamuna Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya. Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskachalde Shatarane. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru and Vaishnavanscha. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cha Vanchakapati Vishcha Kripasindhavya Vichapati Chanam Pavanevya Vaishnavya. So we're going to go through the I am verses in the Bhagavad Gita to find Krishna in our everyday life. So we also have a book that goes with this class. If you're interested, you can see me after the class. And there we go into the Gita verses and the Bhagavatam verses of how we find God in the universe, and also Krishna's 64 qualities and how we can find them in the world. So this is important because Rupa Goswami says that we should always remember Krishna and never forget him. And that may be a little difficult to always think about Krishna playing with the cowherd boys, or Mother Yasoda chasing after Krishna, or Krishna doing his Ras Lila. That may be a little difficult when we're driving a car, or going shopping, or going to work, or washing the dishes. And therefore, there's so much instruction in the Shastra about how we can find Krishna in what appears to be the ordinary things of the world. And I listen to Srila Prabhupada's classes most mornings, and I keep hearing him saying that Krishna's separated energy, earth, water, fire, air. It's like when you listen to a tape recording of Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada's there, but he's not there. But he said something very interesting. He said, if you're listening to a tape recording of me, Prabhupada was saying, if you're listening to a tape recording of Srila Prabhupada, and you don't know who he is, you don't recognize his voice, then you're not aware that it's Srila Prabhupada talking. But if you know, oh, that's Prabhupada talking, then you're with him even in the recording. In the same way, if when we see the things of the world, we know that's Krishna talking, that's Krishna, then we can be connected with him easily at every moment. So you ready? Yes? And Prabhupada, in talking about this, he says that when we do this, there is no more material world. And in one lecture, he said it 3 times. Bless you. There'll be no material world, there'll be no material world, there'll be no material world. So who would like this? All right. So first we're going to look at chapter 7, and Krishna says he is Om. He says this 3 times. So Om seems very simple. Om, 1 syllable. In a similar way, Krishna seems very simple. He seems like a little cowherd boy taking care of his cows, right, with a little stick. But actually, as Lord Brahma saw when he stole the calves and the cowherd boys, that Krishna contains everything. Now, as we go through these, I'd like each of you, especially if you have paper and pencil or phone, to make a note of 1, 2, or 3 of them that you'd like to meditate on during the day today. And I'm supposed to give the class tomorrow, which will be on the next verse in the Bhagavatam. But I will ask you at the beginning, how did it go? How did your meditation go? How did it change your life? So if you could just pick 1, 2, or 3 of these that today I'm going to meditate on. Now this next one is interesting. I'm the sound in ether. When Srila Prabhupada speaks about this verse, he says, if you don't want to chant Hare Krishna, you can meditate on how all sounds are Krishna. So what sounds do we hear now? Can we think about how all these sounds are actually Krishna? This is a pretty easy one because there's always sounds. I am the seed of all existence. This one Krishna also says 3 times. So of course a seed is compared to bhakti, that bhakti is planted by the Guru and grows into this wonderful tree of love of Godhead, which we can think of whenever we see seeds, which every day we're encountering seeds. So religious sex life, whenever we see a loving family taking good care of their children, we know that is Krishna. The strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire, whenever we see people using their strength and their power to help others, that is Krishna. The heat and fire. So can we become aware of the heat in this room? Just notice that there's heat in this room. There's heat coming from our bodies. One time somebody lent a science tape to our Gurukula about the universe, and it started out saying that the universe is a cold, impersonal machine. Heat means life. When we're aware of the heat in our environment, we're aware that's Krishna, who's full of life, who's full of love. The original fragrance of the earth, the smells from incense, from flowers, from the different foods that we eat. Of course, Krishna has his own bodily fragrance. What is Krishna's personal fragrance? Does anyone know?
Sandalwood.
Sandalwood, yes, and musk, and camphor, and a guru, or ud. This is a very nice crowd. Most people don't know this. So these are all forest scents. Oud or a guru is from trees, camphor is from trees, sandalwood is from trees, musk is from animals. They're very forest masculine scents. Of course, Krishna also has some blue lotus scents like in his armpits. But all the fragrance of the world is him. And one can say, what about these so-called bad fragrances? But that's also him, it's his love, because these bad smells act as a warning that something is contaminated, right? Infected, putrid. The penances of all ascetics. So there's a beautiful verse right before the Chatur Shloki in the Bhagavatam 2.9.23, where Krishna tells Lord Brahma, Tapo me hridayam sakshad atmahan tapaso. That tapasya, Krishna said, is my very heart. Atmaham tapaso. Yes, I am penance. So what is penance? When we've done something wrong, penance puts things back into balance. The simplest kind of penance is a genuine apology. Is that easy or difficult? To give a genuine apology. No one here has ever done that. Is it easy or difficult? Easy. Oh, she's very humble. To give a genuine apology is very difficult. One devotee on social media a few weeks ago, he wrote, "My seniors told me to give a genuine apology, so therefore, if anybody was so sensitive that they felt offended by what I wrote, I'm very sorry." So that's easy. But to actually be humble, because penance puts things back in balance. And the ascetics, their whole life is dedicated to putting things back in balance, and that is Krishna. The life of all that lives. Can we, for right now, meditate on that we are alive? Can you get that sense? I am alive. That vibrancy, that life within us. Can you feel that? I am alive. And as we see other creatures, plants, animals, insects, birds, the life in them, that is Krishna. Intelligence of the intelligent. So all of us have some intelligence. Can you think of the last time you did something very intelligent and you thought, oh, wow, that was smart. That feeling, intelligence, that's Krishna. Prowess, so this is Teja. This particularly is referring to, right, warrior, strength, whenever we feel protected by the government or by some strong person, that is Krishna. The light of the sun, so he also says this 3 times. Om, seed, and sun, he says 3 times. So can we become aware of the light of the sun in this room? Even through the windows, even with the shade. Can you notice that this room is filled with sunlight? Sunlight gives us clarity, gives us knowledge. Can you close that again, Prabhu? We have enough sun coming through that we can meditate on it even with that closed. Thank you so much. That is Krishna. And the light of the moon, the beauty of the moon, of course, reminds us of Krishna's nighttime dancing. This is a very easy one to meditate on. This is something we can easily meditate on at any time, because we always have some ability. So can we become aware of our ability to sit, to see? Try like moving your hand and be aware of that ability. And whenever we marvel at anyone's ability, that is Krishna. Of course, this was one that Srila Prabhupada quoted a lot, Rasoham Lapsukunteya. And the wonderful, refreshing taste, especially if it's very pure water. We're thirsty, it's hot, and that wonderful refreshment of water. Although Prabhupada talks about how this can refer to any liquid. He says even the alcoholics, if they meditate on Krishna as the taste of their wine, eventually they'll become a saintly person. Don't try that, I mean. That's if you're already an alcoholic, not that you should go do that. Okay, we're going to go to chapter 9. I am the ritual. So we have many rituals we do in our Hare Krishna movement. Of course, we do rituals in everyday life. So for example, when I visit our oldest son, he doesn't put wooden like spoons into the dishwashing machine. But our youngest son does put wooden spoons into the dishwashing machine. And at our oldest son's house, he puts the dishes over here, and at our youngest son's house, he puts the dishes over here. They have different rituals. And those rituals are their desire, how they want things to be done. Similarly, all the rituals that we do as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they are actually manifestations of the desire of Krishna, and therefore they are also Krishna. I am the yajna. So yajna, of course, those of you who went to our career dharma class in the overview, yajna is one of the principles of career dharma. Yajna means some kind of ceremony, celebration to connect with the Lord. And Prabhupada talks about in Bhagavad Gita 3:16 the chakra, the moving cycle, that in nature, right, the plants, the animals, they naturally give back to God. They take the air, they take the water, they give back. We intentionally give back. So yajna is a ceremony to connect with the Lord. Now we have many ceremonies to connect with our friends, right? If I want to connect with my daughter, so I have to have a ceremony. I have to have a phone. It has to be charged. It has to be connected with a network. I have to have the right numbers in the right orders. Then it has to be at the right time, because if I called her now, I would not make a good connection. She would become very upset with, why are you calling me now, Mata? It's the middle of the night. So the yajnas also represent how Krishna wants us to connect with him. And therefore they are Krishna. The offering to the ancestors. So Krishna is very pleased when we show respect to the elders in our family and when we maintain our proper cultural traditions. Right? Now this is being lost in most of society, and we have countries like China where they're intentionally trying to break this. But whenever we show proper respect to our elders, that is Krishna. The healing herb. Of course, even modern pharmaceuticals get a lot of their active principle from plants, or they synthesize the active principle in plants. And we all know what it's like to feel sick, and then you take some medicine and you feel restored to health, yes? That active principle, that restoration, that is Krishna. So Krishna says he was all the sounds in ether, so then how much more is he the chant to connect with him? Now, not only is he the kratu and the yajna, he is also the elements of it. He is the butter and the fire and the offering, all the elements that we offer to him. Of course, this reminds us of Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter, where Krishna talks about everything becoming Brahman. So even the elements that we use in our way of connecting with Krishna are also Krishna. I am the Father. So of course, in every religion, God is identified as the Father. So all of us have a Father, and I hope we have a good relationship with our Father. In 2023, you never know. Some fathers are very bad. But some of us are fathers. Every day we see fathers. And when we see fathers who are loving and caring and protective, and we multiply that by billions and billions and billions of times, we can have some sense of Krishna as the Father. And Krishna as the Father likes to see that his children get more credit than he does. So Krishna is often giving more credit to the devotees. So I am the mother. Actually, on Mother's Day in New Vrindavan, I gave a whole class on all the different ways in which Krishna is the mother. But just like our body is formed within the body of our mother, and our body is nourished by the body of our mother, so all of our bodies are formed and nourished by the body of God. And just like the mother loves the child, a good mother loves the child even if the child becomes a criminal. She always loves the child. So in the same way, Krishna loves us. Even if we are fallen, even if we are rebellious, he always loves us. I am the support. So we have many supports in our life. Right? The building is supporting us, maybe our money, our family, our friends, our intelligence, our talents, our health. But actually the real support is Krishna, and when those things fail, Madhava spoke so nicely yesterday about how in old age those things are going to fail, all of the sandhyas, right, the joints? Oh, it's so interesting thinking of the sandhyas as our elbows and knees and hips. I always think of them as just like the dusk and the dawn. So when our supports fail, there's always Krishna. He is always our support. And in whatever we're thinking we have support, that is Krishna. I am the grandfather. So Prabhupada says the grandfather is more affectionate than the father. And Krishna is so affectionate to us. And we are all in his dynasty, the Achyuta Gotra. The object of knowledge. Whatever we try to study, whatever we try to learn, it is actually Krishna. And if we study things appropriately, we will find that behind everything is Krishna. And of course, Krishna is the ultimate object to study. So I hope everybody's thinking of some of these they're going to think of during the day, at least one that you can capture. I am the purifier. So we may try to get purified by different herbs and medicines, or by exercise, or by some Ayurvedic treatment, or whatever, by seeing a counselor, a therapist. But actually, Krishna is the active principle in whatever purifies us. And again, I am Om, Krishna says. So, of course, everything was manifested from the sound Om. And the scientists tell us that even solid matter is moving. The atoms and the molecules are moving. They are vibrating. They're making a sound. And actually, the sound Om pervades everything. There's such a wonderful description by Krishna to Uddhava in the 11th canto about how creation is done through sound. And I am the goal. Prabhupada says that if our mind is unsettled, it is because we do not have a goal. And when we set goals, we work for them, we achieve them. That feeling of achievement is Krishna, but ultimately Krishna is the best goal. Whatever intermediate goals we have should all be taking us to Him. I am the sustainer. So if we think, what keeps me alive, what sustains me? The air, temperature, water, food, my community, my government. But they only sustain us because there is Krishna. It is really Krishna's energy working through those. I am the master. So masters are not very popular in 2023. Nobody wants to be a servant. I don't know of anyone who tells their children, I want you to grow up and be a servant. Most of the country societies are always trying to overthrow their masters. But if you've ever worked under a good leader, anyone here ever worked under a really good leader? Yeah, I have. I remember when Tamal Krishnamars was our GBC, and we were at Gitanagari, and you just felt completely taken care of. Like here was someone who took care of everything materially and spiritually, and all I had to think about was my own service. I could just focus on it because there was somebody taking care. Right? So Krishna is like that. He is the perfect master. I once read something by a Christian author, how he was taking his family in the car, his wife, his 2 children. And so they stopped at a shop. His wife went out, bought something. They stopped at a petrol station and put petrol in the car. And then he was driving too fast, and so the police pulled him over and the sirens were going. And the police officer comes to the car, and they're going on. And then his 3-year-old daughter says, "Daddy, where are we going?" And he said, "Oh, we're going to see some horses." And she said, "Okay." And he said from her perspective, what was happening? We're stopping, we're starting, we're getting out of the car, into the car, lights are flashing. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know where we're going, how long it's going to take to get there. But there's one thing she knows: who is driving. And that makes all the difference. I am the witness. So this may be a little scary. Oh no, Krishna's
water plants.
Well, were no plants in the ashram, so he watered the, what did he water? The floor, right? And then he would play in it. And the devotees would come to me and say, Urmila, why are you giving your son water? And I'd say, you're giving him water. And they'd say, but he's coming. Water. So sometimes Krishna sends the rain and sometimes he turns it off. Immortality and death. Death reminding us that all of our identity, our names, our family connections, our educations, right? What we've learned, what we know, our talents, our connections, our possessions, will all be gone. He is that death. But he is also immortality. That all deaths are also a new beginning. And we go on forever. Chapter 10. And indeed, Krishna is the beginning, the middle, and end of all beings. The childhood, the middle age, the old age. Again, we're reading in the Bhagavatam about old age. But we can find Krishna in all of them, can't we? The simple faith of a child, the exuberance of youth, the detachment of old age, and again of lights I am the sun. What gives us clarity, certainty, courage, enthuses us in our work. And we are all actually just simply sunlight. Everyone knows this? You all know this, right? Everything we eat is just a transformation of sunlight. We studied this in school. Photosynthesis. Right? And so our own bodies are just transformed sunlight. This light of the sun. Among the stars, I am the moon. The stars surrounded by the stars surrounding the moon can remind us of Krishna surrounded by his cowherd boys or by the gopis dancing or having a meal. Of the demigods, I am Indra. So every society that recognizes demigods has the chief of them as the god of thunder and lightning. And the scientists even now just say, I don't know the cause of thunder and lightning because the cause is Indra. Of senses, I am the mind. This is a strange one. We often think of our mind as difficult and troublesome, but it is the master of the senses. And of course, whatever we can think or feel is all within the jurisdiction of Krishna. In living beings, I am the living force, consciousness. Can we become aware that we are aware? Become aware. I am aware. I am aware of my body. I can feel my toes. I can feel my ears, my nose. I'm aware of the room, the space in the room. And everyone else here is also aware. That consciousness, that awareness is Krishna. Of the Rudras, I am Shiva. The glance of the Lord of time that begins the world. The ego of the world, that is Krishna. Of mountains, I am Meru. This amazing pivot of the universe. Right? That is perhaps beyond the credibility of modern scientific people, as Krishna is as well. Of bodies of water, I am the ocean, deep, broad, mysterious, full of hidden life, as Krishna is deep, broad, mysterious, and full of life. Now, in our section on the Bhagavatam verses, there we read that the ocean is the waist of God, and I really like that, right? How the waist connects the top and bottom half of your body, like the ocean connects two different pieces of land. And when people dance, they move their waist, and so the moving of the ocean's waves, it's like the moving of Krishna's waist. And again, Krishna says he is Om. And Jiva Goswami explains Om, that the A is Krishna, the U is Radha, and the is ourselves, the living entities. And he says he was all yagyas, but especially japa. So the other yagyas, we might need to have all this paraphernalia and the right time and the right place. And if you say one mantra wrong, you get a girl instead of a boy, or you get, Vitrasura. But japa, chanting the Lord's name, we can do anywhere, anytime. Right? Prabhupada said you can chant Hare Krishna in the toilet room. And there's nothing,
Mantra chant.
no requirement. You can chant in your mind. And so especially Krishna is that yagya of things that don't move. I am the Himalayas, so you're not going to see those here. But you do have many mountains in Switzerland, very famous for all your mountains. And when you see the mountains, you can think like that. Krishna is dependable. He is our absolute certainty in this world of duality. And of trees, I am the banyan, so I don't think you have any banyan trees here. But how many of you have seen a real banyan? Yes? So you don't know where it begins, where it ends, and it covers everywhere like Krishna. Among men, I am the king. People are fascinated by royalty, even in our modern world where royalty doesn't do much. So they go to, Queen Elizabeth's funeral and King Charles' coronation. So how fascinating is Krishna? Of weapons, I am the thunderbolt. It pulls nitrogen out of the air and gives it to the plants. Do we sometimes have thunderbolts of realization in our own mind? What do we call them in the Hare Krishna movement? I got a realization. That thunderbolt that lights everything up, that is Krishna. Among cows, I am the Surab. That can give anything unlimitedly. Isn't this beautiful? I love this picture. Anything. So Krishna is like that. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Krishna is fulfilling everyone's desire. And there are many reasons that this is Pradyumna and his wife Rati, by the way. So there are many reasons that people have children, but of all of them, Krishna says he is the love between the husband and the wife. And he is Yamaraj. Sometimes we see bad things happening to good people, good things happening to bad people. But we know that ultimately there is Yamaraj and everything is fair. Among subduers, I am time. Everything we do, our books, our temples, our projects, everything is going to be destroyed by time. And this is something we can remember in each moment of time and naturally surrender everything to Krishna in each moment. Among beasts, I am the lion, the roar of the lion that frightens the other animals, like Krishna's words in the scriptures that scare away all of the atheists. Of purifiers, I am the wind. So the smell, when you put your clothes out in the wind, it gets that nice smell. Yes, they try to imitate that with chemicals and the laundry detergent. When you have a stuffy room and you open it up and the wind blows through, that is Krishna. Parasuram. So whenever we find people who are cutting down corruption in leaders, we can remember Krishna's Parasuram. The fishes, I am the Makara, and you see Ganga riding on her Makara. Of course, we're not going to see Makaras. Prabhupada translates this word usually as shark or dolphin or crocodile. Powerful creatures. The Ganges, the spiritual water that comes beyond the world from the toe of Vamandev. The beginning, the middle of the end. The beginning of our journey, when we get to the place where we want to go, when we come back home, the top of the sandwich, the middle of the sandwich, the bottom of the sandwich. And of all sciences, the science of knowing the self. In Gita 6.20, Krishna talks about relishing and rejoicing in the self. We have words like Atmarati, Atmatushta, Atmarama. Our self is wonderful. I was just hearing Prabhupada say this morning. That we are like God, we are all good. We are glorious. And therefore the science of knowing ourselves, discovering ourselves is Krishna. And Krishna is Vada. So of course we talk about this in our hermeneutics course. Vada is discussions where your aim is truth. Then there's Jalpa, where your aim is to be victorious, and Vitanda, where your aim is to smash. But Krishna is Vada, to find the truth. Of letters, I am A. So if we can say the sound A. You notice you don't use your tongue, your lips, or your teeth. This is the foundational sound of all language. Inexhaustible time. To be in this moment, always in this moment, to be aware of this moment and dedicating to Krishna in this moment is time. all-devouring death, not only the death of our body, the deaths of our relationships, our homes, our jobs, our educations, our shoes. Krishna is death that takes away. And of course the bodily death that takes away our upadis, our temporary identity. And therefore we should all die before dying. That is not only for the technical sannyas ashram, but we should all be giving to Krishna, as Bali Maharaj so beautifully said to Sukracharya, why not give away to the Lord now what he is going to take at death anyway? So why not voluntarily, as my mother gave away most of her wealth before she died, and she said, better to give with a warm hand than a cold hand. So rather than waiting for Krishna to wrench everything away from us, why not dedicate everything to him now? This is really interesting, the generating principle of all that is yet to be. This is the start before the start. Have you ever started something and then you look back and you say, actually, the start of this was 2 years ago when this happened? Has that ever happened to you? The start before the start that you didn't know at the time was the real start? That is Krishna. Among women I am famed. So there are many famous women, Sita, Gandhari, Kunti. That fame of the glorious dharmic women is Krishna. Among women I am Shri. So Shri can mean general fortune. It can also, as we were discussing in career dharma, mean beauty. Of course, Krishna is the most beautiful woman in the form of Mohini Murti. So women who have beauty should be very careful how they use that, as it's Krishna. Fine speech in women. So throughout history, it's women's private or public speech that has actually moved history. And speech is identified in the Bhagavatam with the Sudarshan Chakra in 957, where it said that the Sudarshan is the master of speech. In our section in the Bhagavatam verses on the universal form, the Lord's speech is compared to fire. Fire that can purify, that can illuminate, and can also destroy. When women use speech in a way that illuminates and educates and destroys ignorance, that is Krishna. Among women I am memory, so the women have to remember this child likes this and that child likes that, and my husband likes this, and I have this errand to do. That is Krishna. Among women I am Meda, intelligence. What is the famous verse about Lord Chaitanya and Meda? Sumedasa. Anyone who has good Meda will join Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. And Srila Prabhupada, when he's commenting on the third verse of the prayers of Queen Kunti, he says that generally in religions, women outnumber the men. That women have a natural intelligence of wanting to surrender to God. And that is Krishna. Among women, I am steadfastness. To be faithful, to be loyal, to be chaste. That is Krishna. Among women, I am patience. So how many of you are mothers? Do we have any mothers here? One, okay. Do you have to be patient with children? So I tell people, when you have children, either you have to be patient, or you go crazy, or you have to give your child to someone else to take care of. And also one has to be patient with husbands. Here we see Sukanya and Shaivana Muni. So that patience of women with their husbands, with their children is Krishna. Of poetry and the Gayatri, those of us who chant the Gayatri mantra, that is God as poetry. God in the form of a poem. And of months, November, December, so this is the harvest season. And in every culture there is some kind of harvest festival. What's our Gaudiya harvest festival? Govardhan Puja, yes. The joy of the harvest. And flower-bearing spring. And Krishna is ever youthful, and we can always remember Krishna's youthfulness in spring, the youthfulness of the seasons, that after the cold winter, the warmth, the beauty, the fragrance, the hope of the flowers and the harvest, the gambling of cheats, So gambling is the best kind of cheating because everyone knows they're getting cheated. No, in ordinary cheating, you don't know until afterwards. You get some scammer on the phone, you know, you're in trouble, you have to do something, and you fall for them, and then you lose all the money in your bank account. Actually happened to a friend of mine. But you don't know until later. But with gambling, it's up front. Okay, let's sit at the table, and I will try to cheat you, and you will try to cheat me. Of the splendid, I am the splendor. The wow factor in everything. Adbhuta ras. Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says that there has to be some adbhuta ras in any other rasa. So any of the primary staibhavs or the secondary staibhavs, there's always some bit of adbhuta, there's always some bit of wonder, and that is Krishna. I am victory. Whenever we are victorious, maybe victorious over a bad habit, that is Krishna. That sense, yes? That's Krishna. I am adventure. Krishna has so many adventures, and we can live our whole life feeling that my life is an adventure. The strength of the strong. So where I stay in North Carolina, one of the men there is very strong. I don't know how much time he spends at the gym, but it must be a lot. His arms look like tree trunks, you know. And so one day one of the devotees was saying, oh, you know, you are so strong. I said, but Krishna is your strength. Just like Hiranyakashipu said to Prahlad, where do you get your power? And he said, the same place you get your power. To suppress lawlessness, he is punishment. If we feel safe walking down the street because our government is punishing the criminals, that is Krishna. This is a wonderful one. Of those who seek victory, I am morality. I'm sure sometime we apparently lost, but we stuck to our moral principles. And we felt almost that we had won. Because even though we lost the situation, we were apparently defeated in the situation, we didn't compromise our ethics. Yes, I hope all of us have had an experience like this. That victory of morality, that is Krishna. Of secret things I am silence. And Prabhupada says something very interesting here in this purport. This is text 38. He says, among the confidential activities of hearing, thinking, and meditating, silence is most important because by silence one can make progress very quickly. Oh, I have a special surprise at the end, Prabhu. I'm almost at the end. I'm very close to the end, and I have a special treat at the end.
What time should it?
Like 2 minutes?
2 minutes?
Yeah. Okay. In the silence we can hear God. Of the wise I am wisdom. Whenever we have some real insight, understanding of wisdom, that is Krishna. Again, the seed. The seed of everything, not just the seed of plants. The seeds of projects, the seeds of ideas, the seeds of different services that we do. All of that is Krishna. And then everything is just a spark of his splendor. To chapter 15, the splendor of the sun. The wow factor of the sun. How beautiful the sun is. The beauty of the moon, if you ever see the moon reflected on moving water. The splendor of fire. Do we like to watch fire? The dancing of the fire. Keeping the planet in orbit. Does it feel like the planet's moving? Isn't that amazing? When we're on a plane, we usually feel like the plane's moving. I was on a plane a while ago that I didn't feel anything, and I thought, wow, that's like Krishna keeping the earth moving without my noticing. the moon that gives the juice to all vegetables, the flavor of the eggplant, of the carrots, of the squash, of the tomato. That's Krishna. The fire of digestion. That's amazing, isn't it? So what did we have to eat yesterday? We had there were those patties, potatoes, and tapioca. Yes? Somehow that turned into my fingernail. How does Krishna do that? A few days ago, my nose was a chapati. Isn't that cool? It's such a nice thing to meditate on when you eat. Krishna's this fire of digestion. He's the light of the sun that turns into the wheat, and then he's the fire of digestion that turns the wheat into my nose. And he's moving with the air of life, moving the food from our mouth to our esophagus, to our stomach, to our intestines, through our veins and to our whole body. This is one of my family's favorite verses, Matas Matir Gyanam Apohanam Cha. Whenever we lose anything, we always say, chant 15:15, and we go around the house going, Sarvasti Chaham Riddhi Sandi Visto Matas Matir Gyanam Apohanam Cha. So one time, when I was traveling, a devotee told me, Urmila, I've lost my phone. And I said, well, just chant 15:15. So she started walking around her room saying, 15:15, 15:15. Okay, so now I have a nice surprise for all of you. Hopefully this works. Okay. Oh, now how do I pull up? Yes, okay. Okay, yes. There we go. Why do I not have sound?
If you go to your laptop, it is muted.
Okay, somehow it got muted in my laptop? Because we tested it before. Do you think? Did it go to the wrong speaker? Is that off?
Oh, that's off.
Oh, that's off. Okay, let's just test it for a moment and make sure it's on.
Yes.
Okay, I knew we tested it. I knew we were good when we tested it. Okay. There we go. It's still not very loud. Can you turn it up? Hope you like that meditation by Mahatma. And you can see that the devotee who did this comes from ISKCON Soho. Okay. So how many of you picked at least one thing that you're going to meditate on in the next 24 hours? Anybody? Okay. Just a few of you, if you can just say something. Anybody?
Krishna is the witness.
Witness. Anybody else?
He's seed-giving Father.
Seed-giving Father, okay.
It's forgetfulness.
Forgetfulness. Ooh, that is an interesting one. Yes? Our ability. Anyone else? Om. Anyone else?
The ritual.
The ritual.
Japa.
Japa. Somebody else? Okay, well, thank you very much. Did anybody have any questions, comments? We could take maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Yes? Chastisements, corrections?
That was a beautiful presentation, Mataji. Is this video somewhere to be found on YouTube or?
It's on Mahatma Prabhu's YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah. And as I say, we do have a book on this. I think I have 3 copies left, so if you're interested, you can see me after the class.
Thank you, Mataji, for a wonderful presentation. And I heard in one class for many years back, 84 lakh species, it is also Krishna.
Well, he's the living force in all those species. So he's the living force, he's the sense of consciousness, the sense of awareness in all of the species of life. Or you're saying that Krishna incarnates in all the
No,
species?
the forms, the forms also Krishna.
Well, Krishna incarnates as all of them. We don't have information of all of the different incarnations of Krishna. So, you know, he incarnates as a swan. Anybody else? Yes?
I just heard once that without taste, without water, we taste nothing.
Yes.
And he
Can
says
someone
that,
hit that twice, the power button? Yes. Thank you.
is taste in water. So actually, everything we taste is because of what there is water.
Yes, we actually talk about that in the
That's
book.
very wonderful.
But with all of our senses, there's some liquidity, like we have mucus in our nose and wax in our ears and tears in our eyes and oil on our skin. Without some liquidity, we can't actually have any rasa. And rasa, if you know, Ayurvedically, it's also a liquid, it's a flowing thing, yes. So when Krishna says rasoham apsukanteya, he's not just talking about water. And Prabhupada will talk about all liquids, but the essence of rasa. Of course, Krishna himself is Akila Rasamrita Murti. I mean, this is a whole other discussion, that Krishna himself is the form of all tastes. Should I talk about that for a minute or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? No? Everybody's hungry? So Sanatana Goswami so nicely explains in the 13th chapter of the 10th canto, when Krishna appears as all the Vishnu forms, that every living entity has a particular quality of Krishna that they're relishing. Okay? There's a particular relationship of each jiva with Krishna. And when Rupa Goswami explains all of the rasas, you know, he explains 5 primary and 7 secondary and subcategories of each in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. In Ujjwala Nilamani, he gets to 350 or 360 varieties among the Madhurya Bhav. But he says there's actually as many varieties as there are jivas. So when Krishna is enjoying a relationship with a living entity, as Sanatana Goswami is saying, each living entity has a particular quality of Krishna they're enjoying, and Krishna manifests in a particular way. Of course, this is also in the 3rd canto, how Krishna manifests in whatever form the devotees worship him. So the taste that Krishna is getting from each jiva is a little different for each jiva. You follow? Yes. It's like you can go to a shop where there's 30 kinds of ice cream or 50 kinds of ice cream. So imagine that you could eat 50 kinds of ice cream and 50 kinds of pizza and 50 kinds of potato sabji and 40 kinds of apples, and all simultaneously, and you could distinguish the different tastes all at once. There was one minister who had a near-death experience, and he said when he went to a higher realm, he heard thousands and thousands of living beings glorifying God, each in their own voice, with their own harmony, with their own song, and it all came together and harmonized as one, yet you could distinguish each individual voice. So that is what Krishna is experiencing. He's experiencing this flavor or rasa from each jiva simultaneously and distinguishing each jiva. So he's a kila rasa mritimurti. But then, would you like to take it a step further? Anybody want to go another step? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, in his commenting on Shikshastaka Anandam Buddhivardhanam, he says the jiva is finite, but in touch with the infinite Lord, it experiences infinite bliss. And you know, with the Chintabheda Beta Tattva, we have the bliss of separation. We have the bliss of being different. We have the bliss of being the servant of 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 the servant, facilitating Krishna's union with his pleasure energy, where we are forgotten. And our bliss is their bliss. And then we also have the bliss of oneness. And in the bliss of oneness, Prabhupada says, we enjoy through Krishna. And when we have that, we can experience all of these flavors that Krishna is experiencing. That is, I was thinking about that also. You know, everything is just a spark of my splendor, and how much splendor there is in this world, how much glory, how much beauty, how much amazement. Isn't there? A lot. I mean, even some little bug can be beautiful with luminescent wings. And if everything is just a spark of Krishna, how amazing is Krishna? How amazing is Krishna? If everything that we find amazing is just the tiniest, 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 tiniest bit of the most amazing. So maybe we can meditate on some of this while we're taking prasadam, all the fragrances, supplying the juice to the vegetables, the heat that cooked the vegetables, the fire of our digestion, joining with the prana, the air of life, our ability to eat, our ability to sit, the rasa in all of the food, the light of the sun in the room, the heat of the fire in the room. And then becoming Krishna conscious is very easy. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I should learn the Sanskrit verse, but I don't know if I ever will, but there's a wonderful verse that whatever good you found in this presentation is due to Srila Prabhupada and my gurus, and whatever bad was in this presentation is all mine. So please take the good and ignore the bad. And again, if you're interested in getting the book, I have just a few copies left. Somebody else. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Praise Urmila Mataji ki
Yeah.
And thank you, Gokula Ranjana Prabhu, for all your technical expertise. Did you get to see the video, or were you just hiding in there? Did you get to see the video, or were you just in
No,
the...
I was here.
Oh, you
I
were
am
watching
doing
there, okay.
I'm doing remote